My child, can you imagine what it must have felt like to be so close to me that I carried you into heaven in a whirlwind of glory? Elijah experienced this remarkable moment, not because of his power, but because of his deep faith and connection with me. His story shows you what it means to walk closely with me, to stand strong in faith, and to trust in my plans even when the world around you crumbles. Listen closely as I share the incredible events that unfolded when I sent a chariot of fire to carry Elijah home, and how his story still speaks into your life today. My beloved, Elijah's life was extraordinary, but not because he was extraordinary on his own. He was a man who faced fear, doubt, and loneliness, yet he held on to his faith in me. Elijah lived in a time of spiritual darkness, where many of my people had turned away to worship false gods like Baal. But Elijah stood firm in his commitment to me, no matter what came his way. His story is a testament to the power of a life lived in faithful obedience, and it's a story that I want to speak into your heart today. 1. Elijah's bold faith in the face of opposition. Elijah's ministry was not easy. He lived in a time when standing for me was dangerous, yet he never backed down. One of the most powerful moments in his ministry happened on Mount Carmel. The people of Israel were divided, wavering between worshiping me and following Baal. Elijah stood before them and issued a challenge. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. Elijah called for a showdown between the prophets of Baal and himself, a lone prophet of mine. He prayed to me, asking for fire from heaven to consume his offering, and I answered. The fire fell, consuming everything, the offering, the wood, the stones, and the water that had been poured over it. Elijah's boldness wasn't about proving himself. It was about pointing people back to me. He knew that I was the true God, and he trusted me to show my power. This same boldness is available to you. When you stand firm in your faith, even when it's difficult, know that I am with you. I will give you the courage to speak the truth and the strength to remain faithful. Like Elijah, you don't have to rely on your own power. Trust in me, and I will show myself strong in your life. 2. Elijah's humanity and my comfort. But my child, even Elijah had moments of fear and doubt. After his great victory on Mount Carmel, he faced a threat from Queen Jezebel, who vowed to kill him. Elijah, who had just seen my power displayed so mightily, fled in fear and hid in the wilderness. He was exhausted, overwhelmed, and felt utterly alone. He even prayed for death, saying, "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." This moment of weakness shows Elijah's humanity. He wasn't always strong. He had times of fear and despair, just as you do. But even in his darkest moment, I was with him. I sent an angel to care for him, providing food and water for his journey. Then I spoke to him, not in the mighty wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper. "My child, I am with you in your moments of weakness, just as I was with Elijah. When you feel overwhelmed, remember that I am always near, offering comfort and guidance, even in the quietest of whispers." 3. The journey toward the chariot of fire. As Elijah's time on earth drew to a close, I revealed to him that he would not experience death as others do. I had a special plan for him, a plan that would show my glory in a powerful way. Elijah knew that his time was near, and so did his protege Elisha. As they traveled together from Gilgal to Bethel to Jericho, and finally to the Jordan River, Elisha refused to leave Elijah's side, even though he knew that something incredible was about to happen. This journey was more than just a physical one. It was a spiritual preparation for what was to come. Elijah had walked with me throughout his life, trusting me even when things were difficult, and now he was about to experience the reward for that faith. My child, I want you to know that every step of your journey is leading somewhere. You may not always understand the path you're on, but trust that I am guiding you towards something greater, just as I guided Elijah. 4. The Chariot of Fire, my glory and power revealed. The moment Elijah was taken up to heaven was unlike anything that had ever happened before. As Elijah and Elisha stood by the Jordan River, I sent a chariot of fire and horses of fire to separate them. In that moment, Elijah was carried up to heaven in a whirlwind. The chariot of fire was a symbol of my glory and my power. Throughout my word, fire represents my presence, my holiness, and my refining power. Remember when I led the Israelites through the desert with a pillar of fire, or when I appeared to Moses in the burning bush? Fire is a sign that I am near. Elijah's departure was not just about him. It was a reminder to you that my power is always at work. The chariot of fire was a glimpse of heaven, a moment when the separation between heaven and earth was lifted. Elijah didn't experience death because I had a special purpose for him. And while your journey may not involve a chariot of fire, know that my presence is with you every day, guiding you toward the life I have prepared for you. 5. Elisha's inheritance of Elijah's spirit. After Elijah was taken up to heaven, Elisha stood in awe of what had just happened. My word says, Elisha saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel. And Elisha saw him no more. But Elisha didn't remain in his grief for long. He picked up Elijah's cloak, the symbol of his prophetic authority, and struck the Jordan River with it. Just as the waters had parted for Elijah, they parted for Elisha too. Elisha's inheritance of Elijah's spirit wasn't just about continuing his work. It was about the power of passing on faith and calling to the next generation. My work doesn't end with one person. It continues through those who are willing to follow me. Just as I empowered Elisha to carry on Elijah's ministry, I am empowering you to carry out the work I have called you to do. You don't have to do it in your own strength. My Spirit is with you, guiding you every step of the way. 6. Elijah's lasting legacy of faithfulness. Elijah's life and miraculous departure left a legacy that continues to inspire and encourage people today. He wasn't perfect. He had moments of fear, doubt, and even failure. But what set Elijah apart was his faithfulness. He trusted me, even when things didn't make sense, even when the world around him was hostile to the truth. Elijah's story is a reminder that walking with me isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. His departure in the chariot of fire was a sign of the eternal rewards that await those who remain faithful to me. But Elijah's story also points to something even greater, the resurrection and ascension of my son, Jesus Christ. Just as Elijah was taken up into heaven, so too was Jesus after his resurrection. But unlike Elijah, Jesus' ascension opened the door for all who believe in him to have eternal life. Elijah's story is a glimpse of the victory over death that Jesus would later accomplish for everyone who follows him. Through Jesus, you have the promise of eternal life, just as Elijah was taken up to be with me. My child, the story of Elijah being carried into heaven by a chariot of fire is more than just a dramatic moment in history. It is a reminder of my power, my presence, and my faithfulness to those who walk with me. Just as I was with Elijah throughout his life, so am I with you. The same power that carried him into heaven is at work in your life today. Trust in me and know that I am guiding you on a journey that leads to life, both now and forever.